And, well, that's the story of me and my catalogue of failed relationships.
Sounds like you were something of a ladies' man in your day, Vincent.
Funnily enough, it's the incidental stuff that has imprinted itself on my memory. Like my first love, Olive, the one with the peach fuzz sideburns.
Is that why you's finished, Vince? Was it all down to adolescent shallowness, or was it a case of you and your old nonsense?
Me and my old nonsense. Back then, apart from a few lazy sherries of an afternoon and a couple of large drams of a night to help us sleep, I was practically teetotal.
And who did this Olive make way for, did you say? Clemencia, was it?
The bowel Clemencia. The first time I set eyes on Clem, I thought she was the one.
What happened? She realized she'd gotten herself tangled in a boozy spider's web.
I'll boozy feckin' spider's web you in a minute, you leery buffoon. Geez, Krills, I'm trying to express some heartfelt sentiments here.
So why did you and Clemencia split, if you don't mind me asking?
She had her father's feet.
And which lucky lady came along to fill Clem's boots?
That would be Verona.
Named after the Italian city, I take it? Up there beside Lake Garda. I'd say you drank a few lakes dry in your time, Vince.
And you'll be found floating face down in one if you keep this character assassination up. No, Verona was named after the rolling tobacco.
Verona, Vince?
Did I say Verona? I meant Virginia. What I mean is we met in that Verona place.
Ah, the enchanting city, the setting for Romeo and Juliet, not to mention the two gentlemen of Verona. I'd say it's a while since you were referred to as a gentleman, Vincenzo.
Says the same fecker who had no arse in his pants when he came begging me for a job way back. The Verona was a chippy on Bridge Street, if you must know. It's long gone now.
Much like Virginia. Who came next?
Veronica number 1.
You went out with more than one Veronica, Vince? That was a bit of a coincidence.
Number 1 was the name I gave her, for that was the brand she smoked. John Player number 1. 60 a day habit. Didn't so much smoke the fags as eat them.
And it was this trait that caused you two to split.
Don't be daft. Sure, back then I had an 80 a day habit myself. No, number 1 had worse habits than chain smoking. Like breathing heavily in her sleep, for instance.
Maybe all your drinking left her feeling exhausted.
If you're trying to earn yourself a boot in the hole, you're going about it the right way.
And that was when Agnes came along.
Felicity weighed in before Agnes. I say weighed in because Felicity had reflexes like a boxer. Used to knock us about a bit when I was drunk.
Used to knock you about when she was drunk, don't you mean?
Thing is, I never consciously recall her doing me over. Just the frequent waking at the bottom of the stairs with a gash on me head, or stretched out in the bed, me pillow covered in blood, and her sleeping like a baby. She swore she never raised a finger to me, but I mean, how much evidence do you need?
Look at the positives, Vince. If it wasn't for these fantasy beatings, you would possibly never have split, and therefore never have met Agnes.
Where are you going with your fantasy beatings?
You don't expect us to believe it was you who gave all these women the old heave-ho.
And what the fuck would you know about it, you cheeky? See you next Tuesday, stroke cunt.
Getting the short shrift because of your boozing is nothing to be beating yourself up over, me old mucker. I know this because I lost a fair few damsons myself through the drink.
Well, if it wasn't for the drink, Krills, I wouldn't have met half the women, the way I see it. Now change the fucking subject.
Okay, so what are you drinking this week?
SPF 15.
Bless us and save us, you've taken to the sun cream.
Dry oil coconut sun spray to be precise, and it's 80% alcohol, so don't fucking knock it.
And I thought I was the desperado.
Yes, I developed a taste for it one summer during a rare good spell. Someone abandoned a bottle of it by a bench at the square and I snapped it up. Great thing about the dry oil is it not only gets you full but also stops you from getting sunburned on your tongue, gums and in your throat. And what's more, it leaves you with a lovely pseudo-Malibu taste in your mouth.
How do you get sunburned in your throat, pray tell?
You'd be better qualified than most to answer that question, Krills.
How do you mean?
By sleeping drunkenly in the sun with your fucking gob open.